Alright, so I'm going to start by using the large slab sticks and rolling out my first slab. My first slab is just going to be my base. Since the base is a square, I'm going to rotate my clay. That way it can stay pretty even. My slab sticks need to be underneath my rolling pin at all times because it defeats the purpose entirely if they're way over here. You'll just flatten your clay out too much. So I'm going to keep rolling over my clay and the slab sticks until it's the same size as the slab sticks. So it feels like it's getting there, but I need to keep rolling just a little bit more. Okay, so now we are good. We can go ahead and put the base template on. And now I'm going to use my needle tool, and the most important thing with using this is making sure you hold it straight up and down, not at an angle, okay? And now's the fun part. If you're using the thick poster paper as a template, then you can go kind of fast. If you're using just normal piece of paper, then you're going to have to go really slow as you're doing this so that it can be cut out perfectly. Now we're going to take off this excess clay and we will be able to reuse that. So now we have our first piece, our base. What we're going to do first is pick it up and put it onto our project board. So there's project boards over by the broken sink, and some might already have masking tape on it. If it doesn't, you can put some on yourself. If it has masking tape, then it obviously will have someone else's name on it. So you're just gonna write over the name. Okay, and it looks messy, but it works, and now we're not wasting another piece of masking tape. So you're going to put your first one aside by just placing it on your project board, putting it to the side, and now we are going to roll out our front and back piece. We can use this excess clay, but we have to do something first, and it's called wedging. So it's kind of like kneading dough, and we have to do this because if we just went and started rolling on this, we'll have all of these air pockets show up, and that is how clay explodes in the kiln, is if we have all these air pockets. So what we're going to do is wedge, and this is what it looks like. It's a motion kind of like this, okay? So and we want to keep doing this a couple times. Don't just do it 3 times and be done with it. Okay, and we want to kind of turn it into a little cylinder. So I'm going to roll it, and then I'm going to hit the bottom and the top to flatten it out. And now I have this like little cylinder that I can use and roll out. So I'm thinking that this is going to be a little too small for this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just come up and get a new piece. So if you were doing this, you could set this aside, maybe use it for something else, or give it to a friend, or just bag it up and save it for later. You could also just take it back up to me, and I will add it to the other clay. So now we're going to roll out another side. I'm going to actually use this one. And since we're doing the front piece now, or one of the walls, I'm going to go ahead and grab the medium slab sticks. Okay, and I'm gonna roll this out. So this piece is taller, so I don't need to worry about like rotating it like I did with the square, because my front and back piece is pretty tall. Okay. All right, so now it is the size of my slab sticks, so I can take these away and put on my front and back piece. And I'll need 2 of these, one for the front, one for the back, obviously. Okay, and same thing. I'm just going to use the needle tool, hold it straight up and down, and cut it out. We don't want to hold it at an angle. It needs to be straight up and down. And we need to make sure we do it in this order. So we want to do the base and then both front and back pieces, because these need to dry out a little bit longer than the other sides need to. Okay, so I can just go around it, fix the imperfections again. This is a little bit angled over here, so I'm going to straighten that out. Okay, and take off my template, and I'll need to use it again. Perfect. So I'm going to go to my project board now, and I don't want the clay pieces to touch because they'll stick together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a plastic bag to separate the pieces. So today I want to loosely wrap them because I want these to dry out a little bit, but not completely. Normally we're gonna wrap things super tight because we're gonna be nervous that they're gonna dry out. But today, since we'll be back tomorrow and we're not leaving for the weekend or anything, we're just going to loosely bag this. So I'm not wrapping it around the whole thing. I'm just placing it on top. And then I can place this one on top of that. And you want to make sure you can still kind of see your name too. And then I'm just going to loosely fold that over, and then I can add the next one on top. And we're just going to keep it in a stack on our project board so that no one loses anything. Because last quarter, so many people would lose walls and all of that, and that's because they did not keep it on their project board. Okay, so the next step would be cutting out the back side or front. And again, I have all this excess clay, so I can wedge it first by just doing this type of a motion, just like kneading dough. And I already showed you how to cut out 2, so I feel like that's probably good for this video.